Have you ever been betrayed by people you trusted the most? Have you ever faced suffering, rejection, or injustice and wondered why it was happening to you? What if your lowest moment was actually the beginning of something greater? Today, we explore the powerful biblical story of a young man who was betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, thrown into prison, and yet rose to become one of the most powerful rulers in the land. This is the story of Joseph. Joseph was the beloved son of Jacob, born to him in his old age. Because of this, Jacob showed him special favor and made him a richly ornamented robe. This visible sign of love caused deep jealousy among his brothers. Genesis 37, 3-4. Now Israel loved Joseph more than any of his other sons, and he made an ornate robe for him. When his brothers saw that their father loved him more, they hated him and could not speak a kind word to him. Joseph then began to have dreams that revealed what would happen in the future. In one dream, he saw himself and his brothers binding sheaves of grain in the field, and his sheaf rose upright while the others bowed down to it. Genesis 37, 5-7. Joseph had a dream. We were binding sheaves of grain. My sheaf rose and stood upright, while your sheaves gathered around mine and bowed down to it. When he told his brothers, they became even more angry. Genesis 37, 8. His brothers said to him, "Do you intend to reign over us?" And they hated him all the more because of his dream. Joseph had another dream in which the sun, moon, and 11 stars bowed down to him. When he told his father, Jacob rebuked him but kept the matter in mind. Genesis 37, 9-11. Then he had another dream. The sun and moon and 11 stars were bowing down to me. His father rebuked him, but kept the matter in mind. Sometime later, Joseph's brothers were grazing their father's flocks near Shechem. Jacob sent Joseph to check on them. As Joseph approached, wearing his robe, his brothers saw him from a distance and began to plot against him. Genesis 37, 18-20. They saw him in the distance. "Here comes that dreamer. Come now, let's kill him. Then we'll see what comes of his dreams." Reuben, the eldest, persuaded them not to kill him, but instead to throw him into a cistern. Genesis 37, 21-22. Reuben heard this and tried to rescue him. "Let's not take his life. Throw him into this cistern." So when Joseph arrived, they stripped him of his robe and threw him into an empty cistern. Genesis 37, 23-24. They stripped him of his robe and threw him into the cistern. The cistern was empty. There was no water in it. Later, when a caravan of Ishmaelites passed by, Judah suggested selling Joseph instead of killing him. Genesis 37, 26-28. Judah said, "What will we gain if we kill our brother? Come, let's sell him." So they sold him for 20 shekels of silver, and the Ishmaelites took him to Egypt. The brothers then deceived their father by dipping Joseph's robe in goat's blood. Genesis 37, 31-33. They took Joseph's robe, dipped it in blood. Jacob recognized it and said, "It is my son's robe. Some ferocious animal has devoured him." In Egypt, Joseph was sold to Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh and captain of the guard. Despite being a slave, the Lord was with Joseph and gave him success. Genesis 39, 2-4. The Lord was with Joseph so that he prospered. His master saw that the Lord was with him. Joseph found favor in his eyes. Potiphar placed Joseph in charge of his household, trusting him completely. Genesis 39, 5-6. From the time he put him in charge, the Lord blessed the household. Joseph was well built and handsome. However, Potiphar's wife began to desire Joseph and repeatedly asked him to lie with her. Genesis 39:7. She said, "Come to bed with me." Joseph refused and remained faithful. Genesis 39:8-9. He refused. "My master has withheld nothing from me except you. How then could I do such a wicked thing and sin against God?" One day, she caught him by his cloak, but he fled, leaving it behind. She then falsely accused him. Genesis 39:12-14. She caught him by his cloak, but he left his cloak. Then she called, "This Hebrew has been brought to us to make sport of us." Because of her accusation, Joseph was thrown into prison. Genesis 39:20. Joseph's master took him and put him in prison, the place where the king's prisoners were confined. Even in prison, God was with Joseph and showed him favor. Genesis 39:21-23. The Lord was with him. The warden put Joseph in charge, because the Lord was with Joseph. While in prison, Pharaoh's cupbearer and baker were imprisoned. Each had a troubling dream, and Joseph interpreted them. Genesis 40:12-13. This is what it means. Within 3 days, Pharaoh will lift up your head and restore you to your position. For the baker, the interpretation was different. Genesis 40:18-19. Within 3 days, Pharaoh will lift off your head, and birds will eat away your flesh. Everything happened exactly as Joseph said. Genesis 40:21-22. He restored the chief cupbearer, but he impaled the chief baker. Joseph asked the cupbearer to remember him, but he forgot. Genesis 40:23. The chief cupbearer did not remember Joseph. He forgot him. Genesis 37:9-11. Then he had another dream. The sun and moon and 11 stars were bowing down to me. His father rebuked him, but kept the matter in mind. Sometime later, Joseph's brothers were grazing their father's flocks near Shechem. Jacob sent Joseph to check on them. As Joseph approached, wearing his robe, his brothers saw him from a distance and began to plot against him. Genesis 37:18-20. They saw him in the distance. "Here comes that dreamer. Come now, let's kill him. Then we'll see what comes of his dreams." Reuben, the eldest, persuaded them not to kill him, but instead to throw him into a cistern. Genesis 37:21-22. Reuben heard this and tried to rescue him. "Let's not take his life. Throw him into this cistern." So when Joseph arrived, they stripped him of his robe and threw him into an empty cistern. Genesis 37:23-24. They stripped him of his robe and threw him into the cistern. The cistern was empty. There was no water in it. Later, when a caravan of Ishmaelites passed by, Judah suggested selling Joseph instead of killing him. Genesis 37:26-28. Judah said, "What will we gain if we kill our brother? Come, let's sell him." So they sold him for 20 shekels of silver, and the Ishmaelites took him to Egypt. The brothers then deceived their father by dipping Joseph's robe in goat's blood. After 2 full years, Pharaoh had dreams that troubled him deeply, but none of his wise men could interpret them. Genesis 41:1-8. When 2 full years had passed, Pharaoh had a dream. In the morning, his mind was troubled. Then the cupbearer remembered Joseph and told Pharaoh. Genesis 41:9-14. Then the chief cupbearer said, "I remember my shortcomings today." So Pharaoh sent for Joseph. Joseph was brought quickly from prison, shaved, and brought before Pharaoh. He made it clear that interpretation belongs to God. Genesis 41:16. I cannot do it, but God will give Pharaoh the answer he desires. Joseph explained that Pharaoh's dreams meant 7 years of abundance, followed by 7 years of severe famine. Genesis 41:29-30. 7 years of great abundance are coming, but 7 years of famine will follow them. He advised Pharaoh to appoint a wise man to store grain during the good years. Genesis 41:33-36. Let Pharaoh appoint commissioners to store up grain, so the country may not be ruined. Pharaoh recognized God's presence in Joseph and elevated him to power. Genesis 41:39-41. Since God has made all this known to you, I hereby put you in charge of the whole land of Egypt. Joseph became second in command over all Egypt. Genesis 41:43. He had him ride in a chariot as his second in command, and people shouted before him, "Make way!" During the years of famine, people from all lands came to Egypt to buy food, including Joseph's brothers. Genesis 42:6. Joseph was the governor, the one who sold grain to all its people. His brothers bowed before him, fulfilling his earlier dreams, but they did not recognize him. Genesis 42:8. Although Joseph recognized his brothers, they did not recognize him. Joseph tested them, but eventually revealed himself. Genesis 45:3. Joseph said, "I am Joseph. Is my father still living?" His brothers were terrified, but Joseph spoke to them again. Genesis 45:5. Do not be distressed, because it was to save lives that God sent me ahead of you. Joseph invited his father, Jacob, and the entire family to live in Egypt. Genesis 46:5-7. Jacob went to Egypt with his sons and their families. They settled in the land of Goshen, where Joseph provided for them during the famine. Genesis 47:11-12. Joseph settled his father and his brothers in Egypt and provided them with food. After Jacob's death, Joseph's brothers feared he might take revenge, but he forgave them. Genesis 50:19-20. Joseph said, "Don't be afraid. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good." Joseph lived to see future generations and remained in Egypt until his death. Genesis 50:22-26. Joseph stayed in Egypt and lived 110 years, and he was placed in a coffin in Egypt.